Rock. Oh, you noticed that I had the dumb end of the auger, right? Mark was doing all the actual mechanic work right there. I'm jealous of all you Midwest and Northeast builders that go down 4 feet for fence posts with an auger like that, and it's no big deal. In Texas, where I am, check out this hole. It's 4 inches to maybe 8 inches before you hit solid rock. That's what we get in Texas right there. That's some solid, well, maybe not totally solid, but limestone nonetheless. Here's one of the chips that came out. I'm gonna give to my son. It's got a little crystal in there. That's what we're pulling out of this hole, which meant we'd use our Milwaukee cordless breaker bar in there to really chip that out. It's a bear. Anyways, I got a fence video coming up. We're doing a giant fence with KnotWood. But let me give you an update on the house. As I said earlier, 6 weeks to go till my family moves in. A ton going on, including this fence project. I'll meet you at the front door. We'll give you a full update and show you some cool stuff happening. So let's get going. Turning 49 in a couple weeks, and I gotta say, some knee pads feel really good on my old man knees. So if you haven't seen it before, this is my backyard. It's not huge. We're in a kind of infill city lot area. The fence is going where that string line is in the back, and then I've got a pretty cool landscape plan that I've been working on in the back here. But come up this way, I've got my first section of fence up. I got a fence video we're working on, so I'll give you all the details, but just briefly, this is an aluminum fence product called KnotWood, originally from Australia, but made in Georgia now. And it's a really cool kind of part of kits, or kit of parts, I should say, including aluminum slats, aluminum posts, this cool cap that we're working on. It's gonna be a really nice fence. And I really wanna get that in, obviously, before I move in to make sure the dog can't get out, and also privacy from the neighbors. The fence that was here before, oh my gosh, it was 20 years old and looking terrible. But T-minus 6 weeks till we move in. You can see I've got a pod here, and then I've got a pod right here, and everything that I own is in these 2 pods right now. I think I've told you in a previous video that the house that I previously lived in was right across the street here with that metal roof. That was my old house. I bought this one, and if you watched my original videos, you probably know I foolishly thought I was gonna remodel this house. And at the time I bought it, I thought, oh, this will be a rental house for me. And as I got into the process, number one, I fell in love with the project. And number two, I realized what terrible shape the house was in. So this is basically all new construction. I've got the original slab on the house. This front porch slab is new, but we're getting really close. 6 weeks out, basically from Friday, is my moving date. So we're getting final lights put in. The electricians are here, putting those on today. My appliances got put in this week, so my garage is dramatically more empty. I still have a bunch of lights going on. By the way, shout out to my friends at Circa Lighting. That's where all these lights came from. They've got a bunch of stores nationwide, but their showroom was awesome, and it was cool for me to be on both sides of the fence. You know, most of the time I'm the builder dealing with suppliers like Circa Lighting. But this case, I got to be the client and the builder, and it was super fun for me to go with my interior designer and my wife and pick some really beautiful fixtures, but then see, okay, here's everything I picked. And what was cool about these guys was they label everything really nicely. And I even got like, these lights are on my nightstands, my master nightstand. So I even ordered some regular lamps as well as mine. They label everything beautifully. Everything was brought to the job site. But here's a little update on the house. When you walk in from the garage space, this is my laundry and my wife's desk area. Mila already installed my stacking washer and dryer. I need to do a little video on these, but what's cool about these is this is a non-venting dryer, meaning there's no exhaust to the outside. This is kind of like a big dehumidifier as a dryer, and then all the water that takes out of clothes goes down the drain instead of to the outside. I'm started a video already on my countertops, but I put Caesar stone in a marble look, and I absolutely love it. The way the colors have turned out, all the selections, it's hard to tell now because the lights aren't on yet. I just passed my temporary electric final inspection 2 or 3 days ago, and I've called for my electric meter, so hopefully Austin Energy will be out in the next day or two to set my meter. I can light everything up. But you're gonna notice where there are switches, not every switch is in yet. Let's see if I have any switches over here. There we go. Where there are switches in the house, I'll light this up with my flashlight so you can see it. These are standard rocker switches, and I've had this question from several of you. Why are there switches in random high places inside closets? That is a little bit weird, but what's happening is these standard rocker switches that are just on now for testing purposes, we want to make sure everything works before we put the real switches in. Those will get replaced with a really interesting and cool product. Not all that new, it's been on the market for a little while, but the guys at Cooper Lighting, Halo, make these smart home style switches. Let me show you just a couple of these, where these are part of the Halo Home system. This is a keypad, and this dimmer is also connected through Bluetooth kind of to each individual switch in the house. And so I'll show you in a future video, but basically I can program this with my phone, and this keypad that's right here, this keypad will be right by the front door, and I'll come in and I'll press number 1 on the keypad, and number 1 will be programmed by me on my phone to turn on 7 or 8 or 10 or 12 banks of lighting in the house, including a bunch of the switches that are up in my closets, which will be these dimmers that are connected to the system, so that now I don't have to flip 10 or 12 switches. I can just hit one and that scene will automatically come on for me. Same is true when I leave. There's an off button here, and this one button can be programmed to basically every switch in the house that's one of these dimmers or one of these switches. I can turn the entire house off. So even if my kids left their lights on in their bedroom, I can turn all those off. But we're not ready to install those yet. We want to put the meter on. We want to light everything up and make sure everything's good to go. Painters are making really good headway. If you saw my, my trim video, we used a bunch of this vertical shiplap, did it in a bunch of areas. They painted all that. It's looking really, really good. I used pre-finished cabinetry and pre-finished floors. The cabinetry is from Crystal Cabinetry. It comes all beautifully finished ahead of time, so there's no painting involved there. I really like that. And then one of the big kind of long poles or long poles in the tent, as they say, is getting your countertops on. Until your countertops are on, you can't set appliances, you can't do tile backsplashes, you can't do your final electrical, that sort of thing. So getting my countertops on was a huge win for me in terms of the schedule, because then everything could fall into place and I could schedule everybody. Electricians were here one of the day putting a bunch of stuff on, and they're back today doing all my decorative fixtures. Tile guys got on here and did a beautiful job on this tile backsplash. And then as I get done, I want to caulk all these locations. And by the way, here's a kind of a cool new product. Sash, which is the same company that makes Big Stretch that I've used for years, has come out with a new product that's intended for caulking in wet areas, backsplashes, showers, that sort of thing. That's a white caulking that has an active enzyme in it, so that those enzymes will actually eat any mold that might want to grow on this, especially in shower areas. Not as big a deal for a kitchen. There's not as much moisture there. But we're going to be using this to caulk all of my tile to countertop areas and all my tile to tile locations throughout the house. I'll show you later on once we get all the plastic down, but I had a local installer company that focuses on European appliances called Black Rhino install my appliances, and man, those guys just did a fantastic job. Built-in fridge, built-in freezer with Miele handles. I've got Miele microwave and single oven there. I've got another oven over here. I'll have to show you in a future video. It's all covered up right now, but I've got a very big induction cooktop. I've got a Fantech exhaust fan here with a remote intake for makeup air. We'll talk about that in a future video. And then I've got a really cool Miele dishwasher. This is the stage of construction, though, that always gets me a little anxious. I love a really clean, organized job site. And as you can see, it's just a ton of parts and pieces that need to be installed in the house that all really can't go on until most of the finishes are done. So we're kind of in that awkward stage where the painter's almost done, not quite. My walls haven't been totally finished. All my trim's been sprayed. You know, we're getting there. This also has turned out to be a fairly awkward spot for me. This This like 2.5 story tall stairwell. Man, it's a bear to get up there and work, set up scaffold, take it down, allow people to get by, that sort of thing. And Jorge got 1 day in on my stair rail and almost got done. We just have a couple more of these rods to go in, but this is a really cool parts kit from Viewrail, so stay tuned for that. I think the master is all boarded up right now. They must have sprayed in there this morning. Let's go see if we can get by the scaffolding. Oh, this is cool. Check this out. Now you can really start to see what this space is going to look like. This is also crystal cabinets. I used inset cabinets in my kitchen. These are overlay cabinets. These are kind of one price point down for my upstairs family room space. Really cool. Interior designer picked this color. I think this is a standard white and a standard blue from their catalog. In this line, I don't think you customize quite as much, but there'll be a wall-hung TV right here. I've got some components going in below. This is an upstairs family room space with some couches. Plumbers, I've started to stage some of the Kohler fixtures so they can start hopefully tomorrow. But now that plastic's down and you're starting to see what the rooms look like, let me show you what we got here. So this is my daughter's bedroom. I did a wainscoting all on these walls. I've got kind of finished carpenter custom closets going on. Stay tuned for a comparison video. I'll show you about those in the future. And then my daughter's bathroom is really starting to take shape. This is a Kohler vanity and a Kohler countertop, Roburn medicine cabinet with mirrors everywhere. And check this hardware out. We just put this on the other day. My finished carpenter Jorge did this. This is pocket door hardware from Cavity Sliders that's magnetic. So when it gets close to closing, a magnet actually pulls a latch out on there, and then on the inside we can drop the privacy lever so that someone couldn't open it from here. Just some really, really nice hardware. I still have to route out the receiver plate, but this is basically the same thing. This is the part right here that the magnet attaches to. This is metal, and so this, as it gets close, pops into the magnet, and then you're able to push this down, and that's what turns this into a privacy. And then, kind of the last two spaces in here, or three spaces I suppose, I've got a boys' upstairs bathroom here. This is coming along nicely. Countertops are in here as well. I've got a cutout for my Roburn cabinet still, so I haven't quite done that yet. These are black, which I think is going to look awesome, and all my Kohler fixtures in here are black. I've got a wall-hung toilet in their bath because it's such a tiny space. When the original remodel started, I basically just reused the bathroom space, including that 5-foot tub, although that's a new tub. So I didn't really reconfigure the floor plan up here all that much. This is new, however. This is an upstairs laundry room. If you look at this space, you can see I've got a deeper spot right here. I've got another stacking Miele washer and dryer here. And now you can see, look, there's no vent to the outside. That you see right there is my Zender fresh air, part of my Zender fresh air system. So that's actually an exhaust fan, exhausting air out of the space, knowing it could be slightly hotter or slightly more humid in this space. We're going to exhaust out of here just like we're going to exhaust out of the bathrooms. But other than that, there's no exhaust port for the dryer. These are just plug into a 110 outlet for both the washer and the dryer that you see right there. And there's no venting. Pretty cool. And then this hardware, Jorge just put on recently. This is Cavity Slider hardware that's soft close. Isn't that nice? I still need to put my pulls on it. But look how this soft closes. When you slide that open, it catches and just softly closes. There's a valance that I need to put over top to hide that track, so we still have that to do. I'll show you in a future video about the closet hardware, so stay tuned for that on these bifolds. We did something a little different. But check out this, here's a little preview. In my boys' bedroom, all three boys will sleep in this room. There's basically a twin XL underneath each one of the beds. And this was gonna be a bedroom. In fact, it's permitted as a bedroom. But what I did was I put the three boys in one room and made this kind of their annex, their overflow room. There'd be a couch and a desk in there, but it allows them each to have their own closet. And I built a barn door. Come on and check this out. Look at this barn door. The guys from Tube Furniture built this barn door for me on site. This is that same wainscoting that you're seeing here from Windsor One. We did a 1/2 inch MDF core, so it's 3/4 pine, 3/4 pine, and a 1/2 inch MDF core. It's hung from the top, so I'm not really worried about any kind of warping or changing. It's not going to be prone to that like maybe a swing door might be. And check out this barn door hardware. This is also from Cavity Slider, and it looks like kind of a normal barn door, you know, black and cool looking. But check this out. Watch when I close this door what happens. Soft close. And believe it or not, that's not only soft close, it is, look at this, soft open as well. Isn't that cool? There's a little pin you can see right here, and then there's an actuator track in here and in here. And when that pin gets close to closing, it hits this little actuator right here, which is like a little piston. And this when it engages, slowly closes it. And then there's also one of those sunk up on there on this side, and it just goes away. You don't see it. But man, is it nice. Now there's two different styles of this barn door. This is the one that's pushed out a little bit because I've got base. See, I've got some base molding here. Very traditional base that's pulling that door off the wall by 3/4 inch. And I ordered the hardware that worked for that. If you were doing some modern trimless, you could do that as well. But man, that looks nice. And then I'll have to put some hardware on. In fact, I have all my M-Tech hardware. I haven't put anything on yet, so I'm looking forward to starting that. But man, isn't the house looking good? I'm excited to see it. Guys, T-minus 6 weeks, not a lot of time. I've got to really be cautious about my schedule and really think about what trades I need to get in and out. Do I have all the parts and pieces? So stay tuned. I'm hoping to shoot a video a week, give you a little update, and give you a few tips along the way of some products or some things that I've found schedule-wise that have helped me to make sure that I really get this thing done, and also a couple parts and pieces. I've been using Buildertrend Software in my business for a couple years, and once I got that countertop install date, that's when I was able to go in and actually schedule everything and make sure that I'm gonna make it. So I've got movers on schedule, I've got cleaners on schedule. I'm looking forward to getting everything out of those pods. Stay tuned for some future updates, but like I said, 6 weeks from Friday, I'm moving in, I'm moving in this thing. Unless something happens, you never quite know, but that's the date that I've given my movers, my wife, my kids, everybody knows that date, so I gotta make it. Thanks for joining me, guys. If you're not currently a subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content here every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.